Sometimes I look at what people do and I wonder if there's just that little crazy calorie in there, there's just that gene where people just can't get out of their own way. And we talk a lot about divisiveness in this country, and I'm not talking politics, I'm talking culture. I'm talking about how we live our lives day to day. And you kind of got the left and you kind of got the right, and then you kind of got fringes on both sides. And I think of those real fringes in our culture as the tails. You think about a bell curve, and a bell curve has tails on it. And out here on the tails of the bell curve is where I think the fringe lives. And I do think about those as tails, and I think about them as the tails wagging the dog. And that's where I think we've gone astray, because all the population lives in here, in this big pile of people, all in here. And you would think they would control things, but no, we got the tails out here wagging the dog with this extreme thinking. It's the same on the right and the left. And I wonder when we're going to wake up and say, you know what? Why do we have the tail wagging the dog? Why isn't the dog wagging the tail? Today I'm talking about the left. When are they going to learn their lesson? They got a favorite game of renaming things and hoping the rest of us are dumb. In January, President Trump took office. Whether you like him or whether you don't, let's talk about what he's done that has to do with culture. He said DEI, diversity, equity, not equality, equity and inclusion was over with. That it's discrimination with a fancy name and it's done. The backlash was heard. The woke era was over at universities, in business. But what really happened? Did they say, hey, we just lost an election, one that we thought, hey, this guy could not ever get elected again. People learned their lesson, not going to do it again. So you think, all right, people voted against that kind of thing, so we need to come up with a whole new plan. And we need to get away from that. But did they end it? They did not. They didn't end it, they just rebranded it, assuming, I guess, that they think people are not going to pay attention or are stupid.
Everyone in this room is now dumber.
Less than a year after losing the presidency, liberals are just continuing to do the same damn thing that cost Democrats the election. Today, the real story is about how companies are quietly, I guess they think cleverly, relabeling the same divisive policies and why Americans should just go, oh, okay, okay.
Whatever you say, boss.
Whatever you say, boss.
Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Okay.
Headlines: DEI rebranded. U.S. companies change the term to belonging. Mayo Clinic renames DEI office to Office of Belonging. Walmart DEI gives up the ghost, giving way to belonging. I don't know what to tell you. Americans were loud and clear. Stop this DEI nonsense.
Stop! Will you stop that? Stop it!
Whoa. Stop right there.
So what does the radical left do? What does the tail on the left do? They just rebranded it, I guess, thinking we won't know the difference. Diversity, equity, inclusion is now belonging. That's just corporate lipstick on a political pig. The woke cover-up. Kohl's claimed to drop DEI, but the chief DEI officer still works there. Chief Inclusion and Belonging Officer. Same person, same office, same everything. Dollar Tree. Culture of inclusion became culture of belonging. DEI council and employees groups still fully operational. I mean, I'm sorry. When I was asleep last night, did somebody write stupid on my forehead? There's room. There's plenty of room. You can write 3-4 times. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Disney facing DEI investigations, movies blowing up in their face, public backlash, so they switched to Belong and Thrive. Oh, I feel better now. I feel so much better now. Nationwide Insurance claimed to scrub DEI, now calls it belonging, respect, and fairness. They're not alone. A 2024 survey of company executives found 80% are keeping DEI programs. 80%. 10% are expanding them. Over half say they've already swapped DEI for belonging style terminology. That's it. Call it a new name. Just call it a new name. Do the same thing, just call it a new name. We're too dumb to know the difference.
What's in a name? That which we call a rose. By any other name would smell as sweet.
More proof of the left doubling down on DEI. In 2020, U.S. companies spent $7.5 billion on DEI efforts. Let me tell you what that means. That's projected to double to $15.4 billion with a B by next year. Now look, companies have the right to do what they want as long as they're not getting federal funds, but they're not doing Democrats any favors. According to a Blueprint post-election poll of swing voters, now, these are swing voters. They're not Republicans. They're not Democrats. They're the 15% in the middle that are the ones that determine who wins elections. The dyed-in-the-wool Republicans, you're not going to move them. Dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, you're not going to move them. It's that middle that are going to determine which side gets the edge. 72% of those swing voters said Democrats are too focused on trans issues. 67% said party overly focused on identity politics. 73% felt Democrats care more about immigrants than American citizens. But they just keep beating the drum. Even Democratic voters are sounding the alarm. A 2025 Reuters Ipsos poll found 62% of Democrats believe their party needs new leadership and a focus on cost of living, affordability, jobs, inflation, not trans rights, climate activism. Meanwhile, let's talk about Christian voters. They're waking up. Evangelicals have tended to not vote because they say they don't think it's going to make any difference. They're waking up, and 75% report little or no trust in Democrats. 58% say party is antagonistic toward Christianity. And 61% believe harder to live out their faith in America today. Now, recently I did a real story, and I made a strong case that we need the return of the real Democratic Party. I have voted for many Democratic candidates, many Democratic policies in my life. I've often in the past considered myself a social Democrat and a financial Republican. Working class Americans are dealing with real world issues. High grocery bills, failing schools. Our education system is collapsing around our ears. Safety, dangerous neighborhoods. People want solutions, not slogans. DEI doesn't work. It's not just that it's not popular, it doesn't work. These children going into pre-K and K in those inner city neighborhoods, the reason they're not showing up at the other end as well prepared as kids in the suburbs is because they're getting cheated from the very beginning. Property is worth less. They generate less taxes. Less taxes means less money for schools and equipment and education. They're getting cheated out of good teachers, good equipment. They don't have good connectivity to the internet. They don't have good devices. Their desks are falling apart. They've got crummy buildings. We need to fix that. Those children deserve every opportunity from the first day they step into a school. We need to involve their parents, get them to value education. We need to start fixing that problem where it begins, and that's the first day these children have a chance to be educated. This can be fixed in one generation if we give these children the opportunity they deserve. Not quotas on the other end, not lowering standards on the other end. Fix it for real from the beginning. Yet the left is too busy pushing new pronouns, more quotas, endless corporate PR workshops. No thanks. I'd rather give the children a chance. That's elitism in action, where lived experience matters more than hard work, pronouns matter more than performance, and merit is framed as oppression. That's not reality, that's ridiculous. And Americans see right through it. They want honest leadership, not corporate word games. That's the real story. And if you want to hear more real stories, click down below to subscribe and follow, because I'm going to be here tomorrow talking about more things that matter to more people who care. I hope you're one of them. Wherever you're getting The Real Story, make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you tomorrow. This message is sponsored by Greenlight. Remember summertime as a kid? The freedom, the boredom, the first taste of independence? Like setting up a lemonade stand or earning your first dollar. Summer's the perfect time to teach kids real-world money skills that they'll use for life. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families. Parents can send money, manage chores, and track spending. Kids learn to save, invest, and spend wisely, all in a fun, game-like experience. My producer, LaFern, and her son, David, use it and love it. I wish I had Greenlight when my kids got their first allowance. It would have made life so much easier. Greenlight is the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Don't wait to teach your kids real-world money skills. Start your risk-free trial today at greenlight.com/Phil. That's greenlight.com/Phil. greenlight.com/Phil.